Okay, so I want to talk about a little bit. I want to do a short video, hopefully, about talking about Yeshua as a sacrifice, because the way that I'm starting to understand this, well, I've been understanding this for a while, but I don't think that I've ever brought this together as in a video, because I think that just lately do I even have the courage to talk about Yeshua, being that I didn't feel like I have kind of the right, not being raised Christian and not really knowing all the scriptures and all the history completely. I do have an idea, and I did read some, and I have like basic knowledge, but not in-depth knowledge. But I am, even without the in-depth knowledge, I can see how Yeshua was a sacrifice, and a sacrifice not only in his death, but a sacrifice which in his death is like the final, where he was crucified. He was finally the final sacrifice. Died for everybody else's sins, and I'm understanding that in his life, the sacrifices that he made, is speaking his truth, standing up for righteousness, because he was so devout to the truth that it was unwavering. And even if it meant going against all of his people and all of his people being against him, and not only, I'm not saying against, because I feel like he was for the people, that he came and he brought his message regardless of how it was accepted or how he was looked upon. And that is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice of your human experience. It's speaking your truth, no matter how the outside world, and spreading the truth, no matter how the outside world is going to accept it. You're so devout to God and to the truth that you sacrifice your human experience for the truth, to bring the truth out into the open. And actually even sacrificed himself. He was, if you think about it, in 2,000 years ago, he was standing up against the Roman Empire and speaking complete truth, regardless of what it meant for his human experience. And that's how ultimately he lost his human experience, the experience of living in this world. Whereas, we see, imagine what it would have been like to completely speak your truth in a way, just look at us. So a lot of times, when there's a consensus of the way of society, the way that things are supposed to be. I'm getting in here to this tree. They have like these. Here's a fig. Thank you to this tree. Did you beautiful Tracy? The fig. I have my coffee cup here. I'm putting it in my coffee cup. There's another one here. It looks really good, but it's like half eaten by the birds. So I think that's the only one on that little tree. There's a little tiny tree behind me. This ditch has a whole bunch of these fig trees. You see, we live in the Garden of Eden. We still, in these days, in these times, after everything, and even when we have airplanes going over and spraying the fields and killing all the insects that we need for our survival, we need all these insects. It's part of our cycle of life. And thank you to this tree. This is a wonderful tree. Thank you. We are killing off parts of our own cycle of life. We are so intimately, I can use that word. It's not the word I was looking for, but I can use that word. Thank you. I don't remember the word. But we are so, we are part of this whole life cycle, and we don't realize that. We think that we are separate from the animals and the plants and the bees and the birds, that we can just go in with airplanes and mass murder insects, and it's going to have no, okay, we don't need you insects. It's a warped way of thinking. We are all connected, us and the insects and our food cycle and the ground and the land, and everything is all connected. Ooh, this tree has some really nice ones. Looks like this one is like ready. They're all over, look. Here, I'll show you. Here. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Today I'm going up to visit Chaya, my twin's mother, and I think I'm going to take some figs. So she has some figs that I picked. Oh, this one, see? The birds get them. But still, I'll cut off that part and I'll eat the other part. Thank you to the tree. So lately on my morning walks has been the figs. It seems like out here in nature in Galilee, there's always some kind of something becoming ripe. There's always some kind of something that is ready. And imagine that this land is already, cleared off, and look, I can't even hold anymore. No, that one's not ready. Ooh, one just fell. Oh, it was sad because it was all. Okay, that one's not ready. But I do see one way back there in the back that looks like if I don't get it today, then tomorrow already it's going to be for the birds. So let me get back there and get it. Oh, here's another one. Yeah. Oh, they're falling out of my cup. Maybe I'm going to have to cut my dress. I think I'm going to have to make like a bowl in my dress. So the way that I see it is that really the life of Yeshua was a sacrifice. He sacrificed himself to bring the word, even though it meant that in his life he was discriminated against during his living life. And the people that did see him, like Mary of Magdalene and his disciples and the people that followed him, understood. They were the righteous ones. They were the ones that understood what he was about, what he was preaching and preaching. Preaching has a bad vibe to it, but what he was teaching, his teachings. So that's just a few words on the sacrifice. I'm sure that I'm going to, somebody gave me some advice yesterday. My friend I met, I talked about him a few months ago. He came to the Jordan River. His name is Maximus. And he came to the Jordan River, and he has the Christ energy running through him. And we met and we talked, and ever since then we've been in touch. We text back and forth. And one thing that he was telling me about yesterday is that maybe in the future sometime I could, if I wanted to, because these videos just come out like blah, 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 whatever they come out, that if I wanted to, I could go back on the videos and see which ones I made good points in and redo the videos and I think that's really good advice. I think that I will do that at some point, but now it's just bringing the information, bringing it as it's coming, as it's channeling through. So I'm glad that I did this. So, and anyway, this is my vlog, so I'm pretty much allowed to do whatever I want because I say. So, okay. So thank you for watching. Good morning.